Well, hello, and welcome again to another episode of Ignite with Sandy from the Celestial platform. So, if you don't know what this Ignite with Sandy is all about, it's about bringing you guests who are going to fire up those neurons because every guest of mine has something very thought provoking that gets you thinking. It gets you thinking about taking action for on yourself, taking action which will bring about a positive change in your life. So it's always something that is thought provoking. And today's topic is actually quite a serious one. And it's called Don't Let Illness Bankrupt Your Life. Yes, don't let illness bankrupt your life. So we all know we are in the month of breast cancer awareness and stuff like that. And this is a very relevant subject because we're going to be talking about critical illness insurance. Critical illness insurance is something that has been very close to my heart. And over the last 27 years that I have been a financial consultant, this is something that I have always talked about, always made people aware about. But the sad thing, it's mostly the men who take this critical illness insurance and not the women. And they are the ones who actually end up suffering more. And it's not only their personal suffering, but it's also an impact on their family because women are the caregivers, women are the people there who are doing so many multiple jobs. And when they are out of commission, it becomes very difficult for the family to manage. So there are a lot of repercussions and a lot of implications when a woman falls ill. And one of the biggest ones is financial. So we're going to be talking about that today. And my guest is going to be sharing some rather alarming numbers when it comes to cancer. And since we're talking about cancer, obviously this is breast cancer month. So without further ado, and as you know, it is always my uh, practice never to give away the name of my guest. I always get them to introduce themselves. So I'm going to bring on this lady, and don't be fooled by her youthful image because she's been in the industry a very long time. So without further ado, I bring on my guest, and I would like her to introduce herself, and please do tell us a little bit about what you do and where you work. Welcome to Ignite with Sandy.
Thank you so much, Sandy, and a very good evening to all of you all. Probably different times of the day for different people in continents, right? So, a very good day to all of you all. My name is Shilpa Chitanand, and I'm here to talk a little bit, to share a bit of my experience around critical illness insurance and why it is important for us women, especially, to make sure that we protect ourselves financially. I've been in the financial planning and financial services industry for the last 25 years. For the last 12 years, I've been working with Zurich International Life, managing various relationships with banks and our key distribution partners. It's been an eye opener, right? With the kind of statistics and the kind of data that's coming through day by day. As science is advancing more, as we are having more options of treatment, uh, the data that we are getting around people who are actually contracting these illnesses is very, very alarming. And when Sandy opened, she spoke about the breast cancer awareness month. So we are in Pink October. We are in the month when everything goes pink. We all have our days at work. Children have days at school where they are dressed in pink, and we are creating awareness.
Yes.
As they are creating more awareness around this, uh, it's giving us the fruits we wanted. So, what data has shown us is that over the past few years, while the rate of women who are actually getting contracted with breast cancer and ovarian cancer is going up, the mortality rate or people dying with either breast cancer or ovarian cancer is actually coming down. So
Okay.
kudos to all of us. Kudos to all of us for creating that awareness and making sure that we catch this early. A big thanks to medical science to ensure that once we catch this early, they treat it well.
Okay.
They treat it in a manner that life gets back to normal. It's a phase, it's a tough phase, but we can just get back to lives the way that it was in a couple of years' time.
Yes, you know what I've noticed, Shilpa, is that women are resilient and women are now being a little more careful. But can you just share with us some of the statistics about the women who are claiming for cancer? You know, the critical illness, who make claims.
So, as I said, over the years, we are paying out more and more claims for cancer for women. The youngest claimant on cancer, on breast cancer, actually, was only 30 years old.
Wow.
So, while we are advised that post 40 you do your mammograms regularly, so you ensure that you're having an annual check, or at least once in 2 years, it's mandatory that we get our mammograms done. Our post 35, we are told make sure you at least get your ultrasound of the breast done, so that if there is anything, it gets identified. We are all told literally everybody 20 years plus should be completing a self examination every 6 months. It takes all of 3 minutes to complete a self examination. And I have known so many, and by day, we getting to know of people who are closer to us, right? There was
Yes.
a time when cancer was happening to somebody's aunties, somebody's grandmother, it was like a third party relationship. Soon you had immediate family members, and soon you had people very, very close to you.
Yes. So you
So
know what I'd like you to do, Shilpa, is I know you have some numbers. Can you just share with us the actual cost, for example, a mastectomy or chemotherapy or something like that? I know these numbers are based out of the UAE, but they are, I think, quite relevant elsewhere.
absolutely. Before I share the numbers, Sandy, I'd also like to touch upon the recovery time we take, if we have to do a mastectomy or chemo or radiotherapy. So, what happens when one gets diagnosed with a critical illness like breast cancer? You need to get yourself treated. What happens when you need to get yourself treated? You need to take time off work.
Yes.
So not only are we incurring an extra cost with treatment, which I will come to with numbers, which are quite staggering actually, but it also means that there will be loss of income for a particular time.
Yes.
And 56% of the women that we interviewed said that they would need anywhere between 3 months to 5 years to go back to work post recovering from breast cancer.
Yes. That's a long time.
So we are talking almost 5 years of making sure that we have income replacement.
Yes.
The cost of chemo, one treatment in Dubai takes anywhere between 25,000 and 40,000 dirhams. If caught early, which means that I'm talking stage two onwards, stage one, actually, we can make do without chemo also. Typically, a woman needs between 6 to 8 sessions of chemotherapy.
Okay.
So take up an average 30,000 into six, so you're talking 180,000 dirhams straight off only for chemotherapy.
Yes. It
Um,
is very expensive.
yeah, just breast reconstruction. Breast reconstruction takes 120,000 post a mastectomy.
Yes. So one thing I wanted to bring to the awareness of our listeners and those people watching us today and later is the fact that many people think because they have a medical insurance, everything is taken care of. But from what I understand about medical insurance, if you have been diagnosed with an illness and in that period of 1 year, which is what medical insurance is valid for, you obviously have all the benefits of the treatments, etc., being covered. However, when that 1 year is over, from what I understand, generally speaking, the insurance premiums could go very high because they know there's going to be a payout. And in some cases, they may just say this is excluded.
Absolutely. So, what is an illness? What is a critical illness? I think it starts from understanding the definition of critical illness.
Yes.
A critical illness is an illness which is a long-term illness. These are serious conditions like heart attacks, strokes, cancer. When one takes health insurance, we all go to the doctor at some point of time. We just go show our insurance card, pay our co-payment of 5, 10, 20%, depending on the kind of plan we have. In the back end, what happens with this card? In the back end, this hospital or this clinic goes to your insurance company, says, okay, the fees of the visit and consultation with this doctor was 500 dirhams. I have collected 20% from Sandi, for example, and the balance, please, insurance company, you need to pay up. Similarly, if there is any inpatient hospitalization, any specialist consultations, and your pharmacies.
Yes.
So this money keeps getting deducted from your allowance of insurance. So
Correct.
medical insurance comes with an allowance, if we may call it. The limits are there. Limits are based on how much premium you pay. You pay higher premium, you'll get higher limits.
Yes.
However, these limits will exhaust if you have a serious illness. When I was
Yes.
just sharing the costs with you, right? So imagine just not simple things, but just two elements, which is your chemo and breast reconstruction, is more than $100,000.
Yeah.
This
And
is
most people don't have that kind of cover on their insurance policies. It's only
exactly
the very wealthy or the well-to-do people who have those very comprehensive policies where you cannot only be treated in the UAE but internationally, but everything costs money. So
exactly.
cancer makes no distinction. It's not
Cancer
like
makes no
a rich
distinction.
person's got cancer, the poor person, or the middle class person, or the housewife won't get cancer. That
Exactly.
happens to
And
anybody, right?
let's even assume that you come from the affluent family, you have a very generous employer who's given you a great insurance policy of $100,000.
Yes.
However, this insurance policy will only cover any inpatient costs, any doctor
Correct.
visits. It's like a cashless payment when you go, or just a co-payment that you have to make. However, there's a lot more that will change in your life should you be diagnosed with an illness like cancer. There are a lot of lifestyle changes to be made. There are
Correct.
home modifications to be made. If somebody cannot, you're living in a house which has got 2 floors, and you cannot go up, you cannot climb stairs anymore. You need to modify your home. I've seen people get little elevators made in their house because people can't go up and down. You need to go into alternative therapy sometimes. Doctors will tell you to move to a calmer place where you can revive completely and come back. All this is not going to be covered by medical insurance.
Yes,
So
quite
what
true. Quite true. The other thing, Shilpa, what I have realized is that when you're talking about insurance, most people assume that they will never fall sick. Number one. Number
so
two, from what I understand, uh, medical insurance is more expensive for women than for men. Is that correct?
Yes, medical insurance, in fact, it is even critical insurance, to be very honest, is more expensive for women, because
Okay.
it has been statistically shown that women are more prone to illnesses, whereas men have a lower mortality. So women live longer, but they
Okay.
are more prone to critical illnesses. It could be because of the way women have this tendency to not look after themselves. They are so happy looking after the family, looking after their jobs. There is no time left to be good to yourself. And cancer, or any critical illness could go to anybody. I'll just give you an example of a couple of celebrities we know.
Okay.
So let's talk about Michael J. Fox. We all know Michael J. Fox, the Back to the Future star. He contracted Parkinson's at age 29.
Oh,
With Parkinson's, one can survive almost 40 years if it's diagnosed before 35. Now, Michael J. Fox has no dearth of money. Michael J. Fox can get himself treated with the best doctors. But can you imagine if one had to survive for 40 years with medication, where eventually your medical insurance is going to dry up and you're not going to get your insurance renewed because it's a pre existing condition,
Correct.
and you have no income? So, because our livelihood, our means, many of us have businesses of our own, we are salaried employees. We will have good employers, they will probably be good to us 6 months, 8 months, 1 year. What after? Will your
Yeah.
business survive in the same way without you being there? Because you are the backbone of your business.
Yes, quite true. So, one thing is clear that women need to not only take care of their health, but they need to take care of their financial health. And what I have seen, unfortunately, in the 27 years that I've been in the business, is that they do not think about life insurance and critical illness insurance as something important. So they focus more, I think it's a question of priorities. They focus more like, no, I want to save money. I want to make my money grow. That's great and wonderful. But if you should get breast cancer or any other kind of cancer or any other critical illness during your lifespan, your money that you have saved for perhaps your retirement or whatever else will disappear, and
Absolutely.
you won't have the time to build it back to where it was. So if you want income protection, if you want to make sure that you still have your house, if you want to make sure that you still have your possessions, if you want to make sure that you still have your business, then critical illness insurance becomes critical to your overall financial planning. Do you think that is a correct statement?
You bang on. You hit the nail on its head, Sandy. There is this misconception that I think I want to cover two misconceptions here. The first one being critical illness insurance is very expensive. Um, do you have a cup of coffee every day, Sandy?
Yes.
Do you go to Starbucks, Costa?
Yes. In fact, I was there yesterday and I didn't want to see the price.
So a typical Starbucks coffee is close to 20 dirhams.
Yes.
If I tell you that you could get critical insurance cover for 2 dirhams a day, what would you say? It's
I
going to
say
cost
it's
you,
impossible.
trust me, it is not.
Yeah,
It's going
I
to
know.
cost you less
I
than,
totally get what you're saying, and sometimes women need to be a little more focused, a little more serious about themselves, rather than thinking about the next holiday or the next party or the next outfit or the next sale where they can buy their dream handbag or pair of shoes or the diamond that they think is an amazing investment, which is not. We
which is
seem to
not.
be concerned about all these exterior things when whereby what we really need to look at is what kind of assets are we building, what kind of cash assets are we building. Because if you're buying a house and then you have to sell your house because you don't have any more money and you need to have your treatment. I'll give you an example. I attended a conference recently, and there were a lot of people who were talking about it. So it was about genetics, and so obviously cancer came up. And there was this lady, Indian lady. She's quite well known, but I won't name her. She has given up everything, her house, whatever property she had back in India, the apartment, her jewelry, everything. She sold all of it to get treatment for herself. And she told her daughter, she said, I have nothing to give you except myself. So I'm going to make sure that I can do the best I can to give you a good education, because even that is not possible because of the cancer.
All
She
of
was not able to
it
work,
spent.
and
Yeah,
now when she's come back into the workforce, she is not generating that much income.
absolutely. And this happens, right, when we all come back from a break. In fact, while we're talking about women who are earning, women who are in the workforce, women who understand, the sad part is homemakers. And many of us, many women are homemakers, which is a very tough job. I think that's the toughest job, honestly. You can survive the corporate world, but to juggle things at home is not so easy. And hats off to everybody who does this full time. So these women typically have a feeling, I don't generate income, so I do not need critical insurance cover.
Yes.
However, should you get cancer as a homemaker, what does this mean for your family? This means the breadwinner has to take over some responsibilities. This means the breadwinner might not be able to focus on their career because probably becomes a full-time parent or has to focus more on parenting. You have to invest in childcare. You have to invest in additional help around the house because you are just not going to be capable of doing it till you recover fully. And if you push yourself too hard, you get into this vicious cycle. So as much as people think it's not only the earning persons or the women's income which has to be replaced, there is also a hit on family savings if
Yes.
women who are homemakers do not take this step. And
Yes.
you were talking about we all focusing on, many women focusing on getting that next handbag, buying that next diamond, getting the next shoes. Uh, However, that is because very subconsciously, illness is something that we don't want to talk about, right? It's not a nice topic. It's
Yes.
is it a good conversation to walk over to somebody and say, "Hey, let's talk about critical illness. Let's talk about cancer." Our thoughts and our conversations as humans, we want them to be pleasing to others, even to ourselves. When we think,
Yes.
we want to think happy thoughts. There's this feeling people get: if I think bad, it'll manifest. However, just because we feel it won't happen to us, it'll happen to everybody else in the world, but to us, doesn't mean that's what's going to happen. Better
Quite
be
true.
safe than
Yes.
be sorry.
Yeah. So actually, I just wanted to share something. I had an unmarried girl who was very keen to do financial planning, and I was like, "Whoa, I don't have to convince her; she's talking about it herself." And after she did she asked a lot of questions. Then she said, "Do you have anything that if I should fall sick, I could get money?" So obviously it was the illness insurance, and she was around 28 at that time. So I said, you're quite different from the other people who always talk about savings and what they'll do when they have so much money and then when they're 40 or whatever. So she said, no, I want this. I said, why are you so insistent? She had a budget, so she was wanting to allocate most of it to critical illness insurance. So I asked her why, and she said to me, I would never ever want to be in the place of my mother. She is
Oh,
critically ill, and she says, I have exhausted all my savings to look after her. We have sold our house so that we could have money because it's a prolonged treatment, and I
right.
would never ever want to be in that. So I can't have that much money now because I've spent it all, but I'm still working and I'm trying to build up now. But I know that the only thing that will give me the money when I need it the most, if I should fall critically ill, would be critical illness insurance. And I thought to myself, wow, I need to make her a spokesperson for me. So at the age of 28, she's taken a very large policy. So I asked her, why such a large policy? So she smiled at me and she said, you're the financial planner and you're asking me? So I said, okay, tell me why. I said, okay, I won't say anything, tell me why. She says, over the last couple of years that I've been looking after my mom, not one bill has become less. Everything is costing more. And I understand inflation. Okay,
Absolutely.
so what the treatment is going to cost me today, or what the statistics show today, if I should get this when I'm about 40 or 45 or 50, it's going to be very expensive. And so I need to take a large insurance policy so that it will not only look after me today and I may have a surplus, but it can look after me later in life. So I think that's a very important and a very vital part that women need to understand. You can live for today, but you must plan for tomorrow. And the one thing that people do not realize is inflation. What does it do to your savings? What does it do to your earnings? Okay, if people could just understand that, they could then understand why something cost X number of dirhams 10 years ago and why it costs more now. But you're still buying it, right? You're not going to stop. So
And
you
you will
have
need
time
to.
enough.
You will need to. So, a personal example, right? So, many years ago, 25 years ago, when I got out of college, finished my MBA, took up my first job in India, took my first LIC policy. As Indians, we bow down to LIC when we see it. So, I took this for 500,000 Indian rupees. At that point of time, 500,000 Indian rupees was a lot of money. And I was
Yes,
like, wow, there is so much money that I've taken such a big policy. I was in awe of myself. What will 500,000 give me today? It is less than 25,000 dirhams.
yes.
It's not even going to see a month of school fees, house rent, electricity bills, etc. So
Very true.
while we need to account for inflation, we also need to understand that with every passing year that we miss, we make critical illness insurance more and more expensive for ourselves.
Very true. Very true. Okay, so Shilpa, can you explain to us how exactly does this policy work? If somebody
Right.
wants to take a policy, how does it work?
Um, so you need to contact your financial advisors. You would have a financial advisor or go online. I work with Zurich. You can take my details from Sandy later, and I'll be able to guide you on whom you can reach out to as well if required. You get onto a financial advisor, do your entire financial planning, and once you decide on a cover amount, which ideally we say that critical illness insurance should be anywhere between 4 to 5 years of either your income or your expenses. And here I'm not even accounting for inflation, because typically if we survive the 5 year period, we get back somewhere in our workforce. God forbid you need to use that policy, which means you need to claim on that policy. You get a lump sum amount which gets paid into your bank account.
Okay.
This is not reimbursements or bills, and if you still have health insurance, fantastic. Let health insurance pay all your doctor's bills and your medicines, etc. This is money which you can utilize to say, let's say you have a home loan, for example. Settle it off. Get that piece that I don't have that monthly outflow now. You want to
Yes.
probably put it into your children's education fund. You probably want to relocate back home and you want to be close to your loved ones.
Yes.
You maybe need to, as I said earlier, make some home improvements to adjust to your new life. You might need to, and many people I know have to go through therapy post contracting a critical illness, because it's difficult to deal with it, right? It's easier said than done. Only the person who goes through it knows what they are going through it. Now, therapy is not covered by your medical insurance, by
Yes.
most medical insurances. There might be, I know people who go and stay in certain holistic living centers because they want to
Yes.
eat well, they want to meditate. They don't come free. You need to pay for them. That's what you use this lump sum for. You are the one who decides what to do with this money.
Yes.
You can, for all you know, you will invest it and get the returns out of it to take care
Yes.
of your expenses.
Yes, I too. I absolutely agree with you on this, and that where I have seen a couple of clients who were more. At the end of the day, it's the client's choice, no matter what you say to them. And so it was, no, no, I'm more interested in savings and all. And then this particular girl, she had just got married, and I think she was around 32, and of course she got breast cancer, and she made the claim, and she was very happy that she had all the best treatments and whatever else other than what the insurance could get for her. And then she came back and asked me, can I have some more? And I said no.
That's the sad part of critical illness, right? Because as an insurance company, once we have made out a claim, we cannot take risk on that life again. And with what is happening today, we are, they're with my parents, earlier I would hear of people getting hypertension at 45, 50, 55. Probably
Yes.
diabetes comes only at 60. Today you have 25-year-olds who are popping in hypertension pills. Call it
Yes.
lifestyle, call it stress, or call it just sheer negligence of our health. We
Correct.
Once you have a pre-existing condition, it gets very difficult to take any kind of critical illness cover. You might get it, but you might get it more expensive, or you might get it with certain exclusions.
Yes. Yeah, I
So
think a lot of people, especially the general public, are not quite aware about the various ways in which insurance works. And through webinars like this, I think it's extremely important, speaking to people like you from the industry, to actually bring into people's awareness, no matter in which part of the world you are, it's the same. It's not
absolutely.
like I'm here, so it's okay, and I'm there, so it's not okay. The thing is this, the other thing that I think which is very important, and I'm sure you'll agree with me, is that policies that people take should be international in character. So the claim, for example, if you take a policy in whichever country you are, for example, if you're in the UAE, that policy, as you, for example, you take the policy here and then you move to another country, the policy should be such that that cover is valid worldwide, and that when you make a claim from the UK or in Europe or anywhere else in Asia, India, it will be honored. So that's something which is very important. It has to be international and should be paid out anyway. And that may cost a little more, but you can't be penny wise, pound foolish, and not be covered. So I think that's a very important part. And I think Zurich, you and I both know Zurich very well, because those are the policies we are promoting, because we know that they work internationally.
Absolutely. So in last year, when we paid out claims in 35 different countries.
Okay.
So because UAE as a country has very transient population. We come here, some people stay longer, some people stay fewer years, and they go back. And more often than not, we see people claiming once they have moved back.
Yes.
So 35 different countries is where these claims have come from. All of them have been paid to them in their home countries without anybody having to come to the UAE to make a claim. The process is very smooth. It's an online process. They log in, they upload all their documents. We just verify the doctor's reports. We make sure it's a qualifying condition, and the payout is made into the bank account which they want the money into. It's
Yes.
very important to understand what are qualifying conditions. And this is something that when anybody takes critical illness insurance, whether it's with Zurich or it's with another country or with another company, the few things that, you put it on your checklist and just tick
Yes.
them off, right? One is, as Sandy correctly said, make sure it's an international policy. We don't know where we'll be tomorrow.
Correct.
Life could take us anywhere, and it's nice, right, to be adventurous and go where life takes us. Make sure it's an international policy. Make sure your cover is adequate. Don't tick a box in your head, take $50,000 and think, okay, I have critical insurance. That won't take us very far. Make sure you understand what it covers you for.
Yes.
So typically our critical illness policies cover 36 illnesses. I'll name a few: cancer, heart attack, stroke, major organ transplant, coma, um, a liver function disorder, anything that is going to be taking you through an illness with a longer period of recovery time. It doesn't
Yes.
have to be fatal. There is a misconception that a critical illness is fatal. It doesn't have to be anymore.
Quite true.
So these are things you need to put on your read your terms and conditions very, very clearly. And most importantly, make sure you give the correct information on your application forms. Because
Yeah,
if
because
it
that's
is
another thing. Because
misrepresented,
if you misrepresent or you conveniently miss out or whatever, it is going to come to light anyway.
exactly, because certain illnesses are genetic, right? Example, multiple sclerosis. Multiple
Hmm.
sclerosis is genetic.
Okay.
So if a parent has MS or multiple sclerosis, there is a very high probability that the child will get it at some point of time. Maybe when they're 20 or when they're 30 or they're 40. Now, if we know that, yes, you might not get the cover or you might get it at a higher amount. But if you disclose that, your claim might not be paid because there was non-disclosure on your policy. You might claim for something very different than multiple sclerosis, but you haven't been honest on your application. So please make sure that you complete your form yourself, because only you know what your health is, and don't have
Yes.
anybody else assume. So these are things which are very important when you take an insurance policy.
Yes. I think one of the other things that people need to understand is when they're taking this policy, it's not only for today; it's for whole of life. Right?
Absolutely.
So, what is relevant in terms of an amount that may seem very huge today, and it could be, God forbid, if you do get a critical illness, but this cover is for whole of life. And if you're 75 and 80 years old, and with inflation and currency exchanges, and you don't know what else, that amount of money could be very much less in value than it was when you took the policy. So I think there should be a little forward thinking. There should be a lot of things that come into the planning before making that decision on what kind of an amount one should take.
Yeah, every time we have this discussion, my husband asks me, "What's your biggest fear?" I
Yes.
think my biggest fear is being dependent on someone. I have lived an independent life. I do not want to be. There might be a time when physically I will need to be dependent. Hopefully not, but well, doesn't come. You don't know what future holds, right? So even if I have to be physically dependent, I don't want to be financially dependent on someone. Just like the girl you spoke about, the young girl, right, Sandy?
Yes.
Uh, sh- Fantastic soul. She's doing everything she can to make sure that her mother gets the treatment. But
Yes.
imagine how bad she would have felt if she didn't have the means to give her mother the treatment.
Correct.
You love your mother, you want to give her the best, you love your children, you want to give them the best. Uh, but if you don't have the money to give them the best, it makes you feel rotten.
Quite true.
So be self sufficient, make sure that you take care of yourself so you're not dependent on someone else to take care of you.
Yes. So I think, Shubhu, what I would like you to do is share some details about the Zurich critical illness and the plan, which is called Futura, because if we would like people to reach out to find out more what can be done, how it can be done, etc. So you and I are on the same page when it comes to Zurich, and I recommend that policy, and I've done so for the last 27 years because I have seen the proof. I've seen claims paid out. I've
Right.
seen how people's lives have been. The quality of their life has been maintained, their assets have been secured, etc., just because they were wise enough to take the policy. So,
Absolutely.
could you just share the Zurich, what's it called, website with us?
Yeah, so just go on to zurich.ae. The name of the plan we are talking about is Futura. Uh, Very simply, Futura is a whole of life plan, which means that you have the cover for life insurance and critical illness till you live. Whether it is 70, 80, 90, 95, it is a whole of life plan,
Yes.
including for critical illness. It is a plan which is international. You can carry it with you wherever you go. You can make your payments. Our jobs might take us to other countries, which so you can make your payments and continue your plan from wherever you are. You can claim on that plan from wherever. And I hope you never have to claim on your plan, honestly. But and if you don't, you're leaving a legacy for your family.
Yes.
This, because it's a whole, the one thing that is definite is death. It's going to happen at some time. When you have a whole of life plan, if you have not needed to claim it through your life, you're leaving a certain legacy for your family.
Very true.
So it's money which is giving you a return. It's not money which people have this conception that insurance is a waste of money, it's money down the drain. You do have plans of all sorts, but I know it's Sandy's favorite and it's my favorite as well, because it gives us the peace. It gives me the peace that I'm covered. I do not need to depend whether I am. Most plans stop at age 60, 65. What if I get something? What if I get a heart attack when I'm 75? Do I
Correct.
have to, do I have to then sell a property, or do I have to then sell my jewelry? Because clearly
Yeah,
I'm not going to have time with that.
or even dig into my retirement fund or my pension, and
And I
then
have to compromise on lifestyle.
yes, yes, quite true. So I think we've brought a lot of information to our viewers, and I know that we can't pack in everything that we want in one webinar. So I'm sure I'm going to be calling you back, because this is something which I feel personally we need to remind our viewers periodically, because everybody gets so busy in their life and they'll say, this is a very nice webinar and we learned a lot, but you know what, I've got something more important to do right now. So we're going to be coming back. Shilpan, thank you very much for making the time to be with us today to share information, and do it in a very user-friendly manner, non-technical, so that our viewers are encouraged to come back and to learn more from us, so that we can bring about a positive change in their life. So thank you very much, and I hope we'll see you soon. And
Thank you,
I shall
Sandy.
just now do my sign off.
All right, thank you. Can I leave everybody with one parting thought, please?
Sure, absolutely.
We spoke a lot about women and importance of women taking care of themselves, and which please is very important. My bio is in the LinkedIn. My company is called Zurich, which is a Dubai based. It's an Isle of Man Swiss company. We have offices in Dubai for the last 35 years. But ladies, take care of the males in your house as well. Next month is all about creating awareness for prostate cancer for men. uh, we are seeing alarming rates of increase in men getting prostate cancer and not going for their regular screenings. November is also a movement which is gaining pace year on year, just like how the Pink October has. So look after yourselves, look after the men in your life, and make sure that you take very informed decisions.
Thank you very much, Shilpa. And I hope people are going to listen to that advice. Okay. So you heard it from Shilpa. She's given you the details without being very technical. And I would like to add this. A critical illness insurance is something that every single woman should have. And if you have a husband who does not have this policy, I would recommend that you ask him to get one as soon as possible, because the benefits are just too many, and not having it is going to bring about a massive negative part in your life. It's going to be taking away your funds. It may reduce your ability to generate income. There are so many things that can happen. And when you are critically ill, or a loved one is critically ill, you don't want to be worried about where will I find the money, where will I get the money. You don't have to worry about, will I sell my property, I can't make my payments on my property that I was dreaming about owning. There's so many things, your children's education, there are so many things that depend on you. You know, the woman is the heart of the family, and it is up to her to make sure that she goes out and hears and listens and does things, so that she can become a positively contributing part of her family, even if she is not a working person. All right, so this is for the housewives as well. So what is critical illness? I want to just give you this wrap up. Critical illness is a benefit when it is claimed. It is a lump sum of money, no strings attached. So let's assume you have a medical policy that takes care of your treatments. But all the other things that may be required by you, by your loved one, could be taken care of with this lump sum of cash, which I said is no strings attached. Is there for you to use in your hour of need. So whether it's paying your EMIs, whether it is running the business, whether it's paying your credit card bill, whether it's paying a house rent, whether it's paying your children's school fees, your college education fund, whatever it is, it's money for you to use when you need it the most. So don't hesitate, get in touch, find out more, and take action now. And as I said, Ignite with Sandy is all about firing up those neurons, getting you to think in a positive manner, getting you to do things that will bring about a better quality of life for you. And that's what the Celestial platform is about. So don't forget to like us, subscribe, and comment on our YouTube channel and on our Instagram. Until next week, thank you for watching and God bless.